it is really important to understand the difference between binging and overeating. But I think where they converge is that when you overeat for extended periods of time and when you binge for extended periods of time, this is where the weight gain comes. But I think it's also really important, and for those of you who have been, listening for a while, or know that I don't believe that weight loss will give you the self-worth and the connection to yourself, to your intuition, to feeling empowered that you're looking for, unless you do that other inner work, right? You do that other inner work of understanding your needs. What are some of the mindset blocks and belief systems that you have to heal? How can we grieve that? How can we feel safe and confident in creating new belief systems and letting go of old belief systems? How can we stay in that space between when we're healing those old belief systems, but the new belief systems haven't been congealed in us yet? How can we stay strong? How can we keep up, the energy to keep going and to keep healing and to not fall back into old ways? These are all things that are really important to to do. And weight loss isn't going to get you those skills, right? Weight loss is really great for confidence, for sure, but it's not going to get you those skills. And so one of the key steps in freeing yourself from emotional eating um, is to forgive yourself, right? And is to create this compassionate, and sometimes in the beginning for me, I had to almost, I think I actually did do this where I I had a list of compassionate qualities that was a me, right? It was like a higher self me, that this version of me would represent these compassionate qualities. And therefore, when I found myself in that really tight, that really small, tight, constricted place, numb place, um, when I would feel like that place of wanting to binge, or just really just not feeling connected to my worth, I would call in that version of me. Right? I'd call in that version of me with the qualities. I would look at the paper, and I would expand my mindset to to feel those qualities. And a lot of times, if you can't muster up that version of yourself to be that warm, loving presence for yourself, you could think about a person or a pet or somebody in your life that embodies and represents those compassionate and forgiving qualities. And you can imagine them giving you a big hug, right? You can imagine that person giving you a big hug and just softening some of those urgency edges, those, you know, those constricting edges, so that you can feel just much more connected to, to your goodness, to your worthiness. And I think that's a really good way to start to just decompress some of the urgency that comes with binging, and also to bring some clarity and wake up from the numbing that can happen and from the mindlessness that could happen, that is a cause for the binging or for the overeating. And then, really try to get yourself to the place where you can release yourself from the need to punish, not having to be so hard on yourself. And that will come with wanting to do that. So I remember in the beginning for me as well, I wasn't always successful at that. But as I started to become more attuned to that feeling of, oh, I feel this urge to binge now, I would pause And I would say to myself, like, I don't need to punish myself here. Right. So it's like just these small little things. And sometimes it wouldn't work, but sometimes it would. And every time it would, I would grow my capacity more for it to work the next time and work the next time until eventually, I wasn't binging anymore. And it could take a long time, but it doesn't have to take a long time. Right. So it's all about your willingness to be present with yourself, to be that compassionate presence for yourself, however you find that to be good for you, whether that's like what I did, which was, write down qualities of a compassionate me and then call her in, or imagining a pet or a person, and just being present, connecting to your needs, recognizing that you don't have to respond and react to that urgency feeling of wanting to binge. And it's really just about being able to be awake to your present moment. So when you notice you're overeating, to just stop and be like, maybe, what am I not feeling here? Okay, so these are just really important ways to to break the pattern, to change the behavior. And once you do that and you get more in tune with eating as a natural rhythm, you're going to notice that you don't have these good and bad belief systems about food. You're not going to be scared of food. And honestly, the weight that you are carrying, if you are carrying extra weight that you're not happy with, will really just start to come off naturally. It is pretty amazing and a lot more easeful than some would let you think it is. It's much more easeful. Um, it's much more innate. The body doesn't want to be in overprotection mode. So it wants to release the weight. And if you believe that, that also is an amazing, amazing thing to connect to.